Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Techno Minute. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the iPhone XR, specifically looking at it from a budget perspective, given that I am a college student and don't have a lot of money to spend. Alright, so starting out, the unboxing experience is like every other Apple product we've ever seen, clean and simple, but nothing new. Inside the box we get the documentation, then the phone, and then the charger as well as the headphones. Now, taking off the plastic is always incredibly satisfying and probably one of my favorite things about the unboxings, so here's a little clip of that. Moving on over to the specs, the iPhone XR ships with Apple's newly released A12 Bionic chip, 3GB of RAM, and a 2,942 mAh battery that should definitely last a full day and maybe even part of another. The XR also has a 6.1 Liquid Retina display, which has a screen resolution of 1792 by 828 pixels. It also features a rear 12 megapixel camera and a 7 megapixel front-facing camera. And wireless charging, of course, is included. Now, the XR is also IP67 rated, which means it's waterproof for 1 meter up to 30 minutes. It also comes in 3 different storage variants, 64, 128, and 256 gigabytes. Finally, and probably the most exciting new thing, is the colors. The iPhone XR comes in product red, yellow, white, coral, black, and blue. Now, instead of stainless steel sides, the iPhone XR features a brushed aluminum feel, as well as a less dense glass on the back. Now, like any other glass, the iPhone XR does not shy away from fingerprints, but if you slap on a good case, this won't really be that big of an issue. You will also notice that the iPhone XR is a bit thicker than the other models, coming in at 8.3mm as compared to the other iPhones, which come in at around 7mm thick. Now that that's all out of the way, let's talk about the controversy, which is that new 6.1 LCD, or as Apple would say, Liquid Retina display. For those of you who are not aware, the iPhone XR has the same PPI of that of an iPhone 4. But does that mean the screen is all that bad? Well, no. Actually, it's one of the better screens I've looked at. Sure, it's no OLED, but the colors are rich and bright, and as far as the resolution goes, I cannot tell the difference between my iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone XR. Even if you try and pixel peep, you still can't differentiate individual pixels. So is the hashtag DisplayGate a reality? I would say no. Now with that LCD, you are going to get larger bezels than you would on the XS and XS Max. However, the larger 6.1 display kind of makes up for those increased bezels. Moving on over to the camera, which is probably the second most popular thing talked about. The iPhone XR features the same 12 megapixel rear camera that the iPhone XS and XS Max feature, as well as a 7 megapixel front-facing camera like I mentioned before. Now, the iPhone XR does not have a dual lens system like its brothers do, however, it still holds its own. This being said, you are going to be losing out on a few things such as optical zoom and object portrait mode. Now, since the XR does not have a secondary camera to detect depth, it can only shoot in portrait modes of people, not objects. However, it can shoot portrait selfies, which actually look quite good. Now, there does seem to be a bit of a beautifying look with the selfie portraits, but that's due to the camera's processing technique, in which it does automatic noise reduction. Now, taking a comparison look between the iPhone 8 Plus, which has the same camera, just a smaller and older sensor, and the iPhone XR, we can see that the iPhone XR seems to perform better in most scenarios. Overall, with Apple's new Smart HDR, the iPhone XR is able to more accurately grab highlights and shadows, and it also seems to be a bit better of judging dynamic range in low light. However, sometimes the iPhone 8 Plus outshines the XR, so it can be a bit of a toss-up. As far as usability goes, the iPhone XR is no slouch. Face ID is still here and faster than ever. The iPhone also takes full advantage of that new A12 Bionic chip, and optimized with iOS 12, the iPhone XR is as fast as any other phone and incredibly responsive. Using the UI is a breeze as always, and gaming on the iPhone XR is also a pleasure. Alright, so last but not least, what are my thoughts on the price? So the iPhone XR base model retails for $749, which by no means is a budget phone. However, seeing as it is the cheapest option, does that mean it's a bad phone? In short, no. Apple did cut some corners on the display and the thickness of the phone in order to slash the price. However, in terms of usability and speed, the iPhone XR is an absolute powerhouse. So from a perspective of someone on a budget, should you buy the iPhone XR? I would unfortunately say no, seeing as you could easily find an iPhone X which has the dual lens system and OLED display for around $700 used. Also, the iPhone XR, while it's new, doesn't really do anything that groundbreaking, so the decreased yet still expensive price doesn't justify it for me. All in all, the iPhone XR is a good smartphone, but it's just that. The only thing I really enjoyed, ironically, was that increased display size. Falling in between the iPhone XS Max and the iPhone XS, this is the only thing that would tempt me to buy it. The reason being is the increased screen real estate and a smaller form factor is really appealing.
Well, that seems to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and consider subscribing. It's free. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more content like this one. If you like this style of video or have any suggestions on what I should do differently, please don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, peace.